I just want to talk to a couple of rural publicans, if you don't mind. Back in the day, I spoke to Nina, who owns Jacko's Bar down in the beautiful Ballinacurra. They call these pubs wet pubs. I don't like the term. It's just traditional Irish pubs, I believe. But Nina joins me by phone. Nina, good morning.
Good morning, Neil. How are you?
Lovely talking to you again. First up, what do you make of this term wet pub? I don't like it, do you?
It is absolutely degrading.
It's awful, isn't it? Where'd it come from?
It's awful. And we're not wet pubs at the moment anyway, are we?
No, but could you please explain to me? And we know that they say follow the science, right? Follow the science. 1 in 1,000 positive cases were contracted outdoors. So if we're following the science and they're saying that gastropubs will be allowed to serve food outdoor faster, why can't you guys serve pints outdoor faster?
I cannot understand it, Neil, at all. We are doing everything that we're supposed to do, and we did everything we were supposed to do when we opened the last time. And now, I don't know whether they're going to bring in new rules for us or what, but I cannot understand how we can serve a pint outdoors in safety, serving at the table, social distancing, and at least my customers who are so looking forward to coming back would have an outlet for their banter and their chatting and their discussions.
And I only heard recently as well, you know, the 17 million that's been given for people to be able to adapt the outdoors of their premises. That's only for gastropubs and restaurants, is it?
That's all.
So
yes.
You're not allowed any funding to adapt the outside of rural pubs, if you like?
No.
Why not? That seems very unfair.
Well, now, as they call us wet pubs, we are being excluded from everything. They're saying they might be allowed, the gastropubs might be allowed open again, and there's a question about the so-called wet pubs. It goes beyond understanding.
Yeah, the idea is that if these numbers stack up and we're following the science and, you know, it means that gastropubs or restaurants who have outdoor facilities will be able to serve food and drinks in an outdoor setting.
Well, I have plenty of room outdoor, Neil, to serve. I could put 100 people out into the back of my pub, and they would be social distancing, and I don't see why I shouldn't be allowed to do that if a pub serving food can do it. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. A lot of your clientele clearly would be rural, and I imagine some of them would be elderly, yeah?
Oh, they would be. I mean, I'm on the phone to them, to most of them during the week. We'd always have a chat, and they just can't wait to get back.
Would you have bunches of men then, for instance, that would meet together regularly and are just haven't been able...
I'd have my morning crew, Neil, and then I'd have my afternoon crew, my evening crew, and my night crew.
Do you check in with them then, is it?
Oh, I do. I check in with them all, and they're marvellous.
And tell us, how are they feeling, and how much can you share about how they're handling all of this?
Very lonely. Very, very lonely. They're missing the camaraderie, they're missing their chat about sports, and they're missing... It's unbelievable. I mean, when I ring one gentleman every day, and he keeps on saying, do you think I'll be back now next week?
Yeah.
Do you think I'll be back next month? How is so-and-so? Imagine I haven't seen him for the last 12 months.
And do you have to share news with them then as to how all their mates are, or their buddies are?
Oh, yes, I would. I'd say Mick rang, or Willie John rang, or the lads called to the front door and they were all asking about you. And they're thrilled to know they're not forgotten.
Yeah. See, I don't know who's listening or isn't listening to the vintners, particularly in counties where the numbers are tiny, like, say, for instance, Cork. You know, some are saying that special dispensation should be given to counties that have low numbers. It's an entirely different situation in Dublin. Do you follow me?
You see, Neil, I just think they should make up their minds. I mean, they always say 3 is a bad number if you're having a meeting, because you'll always have 2 against 1. So I don't see why the 3 of them couldn't sit down, give a date, and agree on something. It's the same with the experts. You have this expert coming on saying such and such. One expert will say today is Wednesday. The next expert will come on and say, oh no, it's not Wednesday, it's Thursday. They just seem to be not agreeing on anything.
Yeah. Talk to me about what Michael Healy-Rae has said and is quoted in the papers as saying that anybody in government really doesn't have their finger on the pulse because they've never paid a wage in their life. They've never run a business. They don't know what it's like.
You see, my business, as you know the pub.
Yeah.
It's a small business. I run it here on my own with help from my barman, Niall. Now, I would love, when we would open, for one of them to come down and see what it is like to run a business. They have no idea. They have no idea of bills coming in. They have no idea ordering stuff, keeping in contact with my suppliers. They haven't a clue.
But they would probably say that you're being paid week in, week out by the government and by the state to keep things floating.
God help us. They started by saying, if you remember back, the headline on the paper was that publicans were going to get 5,000 a week.
Yeah, that was false, yeah.
No, that was false. I wouldn't mind getting 5,000.
Some publicans do, but they have huge turnover, those ones. Yours would be a fraction of that, would it?
Oh, just a small fraction.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have I pay my insurance, I pay water rates, my alarms and my cameras. It wouldn't even cover those.
Is it very depressing to be rattling around the empty pub and the empty yard, no activity?
I'll tell you now, Niall, when I go out into my yard, I have my cold room door open, no kegs inside. I go into my bottle store, there wouldn't be 10 dozen of bottles there now. Then I come in, I clean my ice maker every morning, clean the glass washer, and then I say to myself, why am I doing it? It's actually very depressing.
You go through the routine.
I do. Every day I sanitize my door handles, clean my tables, wash the pictures on the walls. And then you say to yourself, I'll sit down now, and I look around and all I can see is the bar is grand and clean and nobody coming in.
And in its history that would have never ever happened before in all the years.
Never. I mean, we used to look forward to having Good Friday and Christmas Day off. And now every day is off.
I know.
It's terrible, Neil. It's terrible, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. And this time of the year, of course, you'd be getting ready for a bit of a burst of trade in the back end of the spring and into the summer. Would you be doing painting, decorating?
I'm actually waiting so that I can get my painter in. You see, I can't do that then either because we can't have people on the premises.
Yeah.
Until it opens up a bit more anyway.
Yeah, so do you think that we're still, with regards to traditional pubs, that we're still looking at sometime around June or July or something like that? June maybe?
Well, I have my mind set on mid-June.
Have you? Yeah.
Well, I could be in Cloud Cuckoo Land now, but that is when I would be hoping to open.
Okay, well, hang on to that hope and look after yourself, all right?
Thanks very much, Neil.
Cheers, Nina. That's Nina.
Can I just say hello to all my customers, please?
Absolutely.
And thank all those who've been so kind to me in the last few months.
All right, well, keep up with those phone calls. They're very important to your regulars.
They're very important to me as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a two-way street. Absolutely. All right, Nina, talk soon.
Thanks
Take care.
Neil.
Cheers. All the best. Jacko's Bar and Ballinacurra. David Holly is the lifeboat in Courtmac. David, good morning.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
They're saying to follow the science and that outdoors, the amount of people that are contracting COVID is 1 in 1,000. It's minuscule. Does that make you optimistic, maybe, that you could get moved up along and get a decent summer? Your season's short enough as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky, I suppose. We have a large seafront garden. We can fit 80 to 100 people, giving everyone 2 metres.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's very frustrating to think we could be closed for most of our season. When you look at images from St. Stephen's Green or the Loch and the places crowded with people, where we can control the situation and have everyone have a good time by giving 2 metres.
And that's what people actually would prefer, wouldn't they? They'd actually prefer
absolutely.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make the best of a bad lot by getting a pint and going down the quays or sitting with their mates in the Loch.
Of course, you can't blame anyone for trying to get out in a bit of sunshine. But I think it'd be much more helpful for business and for people if they open up the beer gardens and let people kind of control the situation.
But do you think it'll happen sooner rather than later now, because of this new evidence that we're hearing about?
I'd be hopeful. We'd get in and get some kind of a summer. I mean, our season is so short in West Cork. if we don't get July and August, we're looking at a very long winter. So for us, it's vital we get back in some kind of form.
Have you any idea what kind of bookings are being made down west? Particularly, I mean, Cormac is a big spot for people particularly from Cork travelling down, holiday homes and Airbnb and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think people are eager to get back here, but I don't think anyone's really taking bookings when we don't know. Like, the lack of information is frustrating. If we knew more or got deadlines, we could organise the business and staff. But as it is, we're all up in the air.
Are you being offered money now to adapt the outdoors? Or have you all of that done already?
We have pretty much all our work done. I mean, any help or grant from the government is always helpful. But for us, I mean, getting our doors open is the most important.
So you're ready to go. But what would you need to do? Like, obviously the breweries would have to start brewing again, wouldn't they? I'd say they're doing an awful lot less of that at the moment.
I would imagine so. I mean, being I suppose in West Cork, I mean, like the Edge only deliver every 2 weeks to us. So I mean, the lead time is a bit longer. All our stock obviously is non-usable at the moment. It all needs to be collected from the breweries. So they need to come pick up the old kegs, and we need to put an order in for new stuff. Then we have, of course, for the food side of things, we need to deep clean the kitchen again and reorder stock, and it takes time.
You have to get on to all of your suppliers then, and they have to gear up as well.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, any work we need to be kind of done, we have to wait for the builders to come back to finish off any jobs,
And of course, they can't do that now.
Exactly, even though the property's empty. Nobody can come in.
Yeah, and then by the back end of August, it's quiet again then, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our season really comes down to 3 months. And if one of those months is particularly wet, then we're down to 2 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're opening up in early July or mid-July, and we get 2 or 3 weeks of wet weather, well, then our season is gone.
But surely you're not thinking about mid-July, late July, are you?
I mean, I would be hopeful that we'd be in for some time in June.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing nothing from government that would suggest otherwise. I mean, we weren't even mentioned in the last speech made by government.
But are you making a difference? Yeah, you're not in the roadmap. But are you saying late July for people to go inside the lifeboat inn?
That seems to be the comments by some of the scientists. I mean, one of them last night said he thought it could be September. I mean, that would be disastrous for the industry.
See, that's why the likes of Michael Hilly-Ray is saying that these people lack common sense because they never paid a wage or ran a business in their life. Have you thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we employ, it even goes longer than that, Neil. Like, we employ a lot of young people in the village that pay for the college fees and pay for the accommodation through that. I mean, it goes widespread.
Yeah.
We have wages to pay. Our suppliers have wages to pay. I'm sure there are fishermen with fish sitting there because the restaurants aren't open.
And did you get any bit of a bounce at Christmas then?
To be honest, Christmas was a bit of a disaster, Neil, because we chose to reopen as soon as we could, and it was great. We were starting to get busy. Within closing, because of the numbers, we had to throw out an awful lot of food stock again.
Oh no!
I mean, the breweries are good; they'll take back the kegs and stuff, but we stock an awful lot of fresh food. We had very little lines of frozen food. So we had fish, beef, steaks, all had to be dumped again. And again, because you're in rural Ireland, we have to pre-order quite in advance. So a lot of stuff was just dumped and gone to waste. So in that sense, I suppose if I had my time back, we probably wouldn't have opened again at Christmas.
Really?
So no. Yeah.
It just wasn't, the stop-start wasn't worth it.
It was such a short time that it wasn't worth it. By the time we had all the stock brought in, got the staff back, spent everything to kind of get the business going again, and then to be shut down so quickly afterwards, it wasn't worth it.
So just before I let you go, from Monday, of course, everybody can go wherever they want in the county of Cork, including West, including to Cormac. Is there any way that you can tap into that market?
I mean, maybe when later in the season we might look at doing some takeaway. But I mean, a village like Cork, the population itself is so small. You really do need to kind of let people travel down to holiday homes and get dining outside going. like I said, we have the space outside. We can social distance. It's very heartbreaking to look out on an Easter Sunday in the sun, splitting the rocks here in Cork Mac, and my garden empty.
And again,
it makes no sense.
This is a question I asked Nina. What's it like rattling around such a beautiful business, day in, day out, closed?
Yeah, it's eerie. Even the whole village, like I said, sunny Easter sunny down here. The village will have a real buzz about it. There'd be people up and down the street. There'd be families on the beach. My garden, you wouldn't have an inch in it. It would be a super atmosphere. And now you look out these sunny days, and I'm going on watering flowers. It's disheartening.
Do you think that the price was too high? The price that people had to pay?
To one degree, I do. I think the hospitality industry, particularly, were the very first people to put their hand up and say, we're going to close our doors and we're going to put our shoulders to the wheel. And we did that, and we continue to do that. And public safety is always at the forefront. But when you have the science that says, listen, you can sit outside safely, I think we're paying a price that's not required of us. We can go back, we can prove we can do it safely. Last summer we did it safely, and there wasn't much of a spike because outside dining. And we just want a chance to get back to business.
Let us show how we can do it well, do it properly. Exactly. Let us get on with it.
The voice of Cork, Neil Prendeville. Weekdays 9 to midday, Cork's Red FM.